Cooper. Cooper with a great chance. Cooper must make it 4. He does.
The Full-Time Review Show is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. And also by Craig International, who are very proud to present that from next season in Australia, they're going to be sponsoring Kingsley Westside Under-13s Girls Teams shirts. Congratulations to everybody involved who managed to get this across the line. Oh my goodness. Dearie me, where do you begin? What a kick in the teeth. Just when we thought we won it, we threw it away. What a game for the neutral though. It means this. So look, we've gained a little bit on Celtic. Not obviously what we wanted. We could have gone level pegging. But we only sit 2 points behind them. It's 32 points from a possible 39. It's really not that bad, all things considered. Let's not be too despondent. Hi everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Wednesday night. Sorry I'm a little late. For some reason, had some issues getting us on air. So I hope you managed to see the new link and you've managed to get on and everything is okay and is working absolutely fine for you. Oh man, honestly, that was so frustrating. Just when we thought we won it, to literally hand it to them on a plate. Oh dear. But this is what we have to go through experiences to learn. And what I'm hoping last night has given the players and the management real food for thought about how to manage a game. Because after we scored, we did not manage the game. And I'll come to that in just a second. A little bit later, delighted to be joined by football analyst Andrew Budge, who has broken down for us where things didn't quite go right. I really enjoyed speaking to Andrew earlier today, and we'll be bringing that to you in our brand new analytical segment in just a few moments. But of course, get in touch. Let me know your thoughts. It's been really interesting looking at the comments that have come in on my social media pages since posting last night. And I would say that the majority of you, as much as you're disappointed and as much of you are frustrated, everybody is still very much upbeat. And everybody is still, look, what we have to remember is this was a 3-year plan from Jimmy Tillin. 3 years. And what he's achieved since June, whenever we kicked off the Premier Sports Cup, has been absolutely phenomenal. And if you compare to where we were last year to where we are now, it's night and day. So, first and foremost, the improvement is there. We can all see it, and it's evident. But of course, we're going to have moments when we're going to feel like we've been absolutely kicked in the teeth. And last night felt like one of them. But as Jimmy said quite brilliantly in his post-match interviews, it's all about learning. It's all about what they do next. And what they can take from the game to learn as a collective to be able to get to where they want to be. So look, we didn't lose the game, even though I appreciate it felt like a loss. We didn't lose. So that's why I'm saying, yes, it's disappointing, but there's no reason to be overly despondent about it because we're on a journey and we just want to learn as we go along and improve as we go along. So to have these experiences, I think, will hopefully only bode well for the future. So that's me having my toppings. If you can see this thing on my nose, I hope it's not too much of a distraction. I don't know where it's come from. good Lord, but it's so painful. I cannot believe at the age of 52 I'm still getting spots. I FaceTimed my brother this morning just to catch up on the game last night. And we obviously, when it connects and all that, he didn't even say hello. He didn't even say how you doing. His opening line was, "Good God, who put the flag of Japan on your nose?" Yeah, that set the tone for the rest of the afternoon's conversation, as you can imagine. So we've got quite a few bits coming up tonight. And as well as doing the analytical segment, we're also going to be doing a historical piece as well. Because remember the other night I asked you for your input about what you would like to see more. And many of you actually got in touch and said that you used to really enjoy the "on this day" that I used to do. So what I've done is I've played around with it and tailored it a little bit. So I'll be bringing that to you a little bit later, because what I'm trying to do is find interesting club stories. And I think I found one today. So you be the judge of it, and we'll show it to you a little bit later. Right, to the team news. So Yimi made 3 changes to the team from the weekend. So in came Topi Keskinen for Leighton Clarkson. In came Kevin Nisbet for Esther Sokla. And in came Duke, who made his 100th appearance for the club. He came in for Shaden Morris. So Leighton, Esther and Shaden all dropped down to the bench. So that's how it looked in front of Shinza and Nielsen. Keskinen over on the right, Jamie through the middle, Duke on the left, and then Kevin played up front on his own. So that's how the team looked. Now, these are the match stats. So we'll start with the match stats so that we can get Andrew on. So we enjoyed most of the possession last night. We sneaked it, but we did enjoy most of it. 15 shots in total to their 21, of which 6 were on target for us. Passes in the final third, believe it or not, are exactly the same as what it was against St Mirren at the weekend. 54. 30 touches in the opposition box. They had 32 in total. So, before we get you guys on, let me bring on Andrew now so that we can go through this analysis. You can take a look at it, tell me what you think, and then react to it, and I'll get you guys on after. So this chat is about 6 minutes long, but again, I really hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the show again, Andrew Budge. Hi Andrew, it's great to see you as always. Thank you so much for jumping on. Right, first and foremost, what I would like to sort of begin the chat with is by asking you if you're sort of the same thinking. Because I felt that last night, for the first time in a while, that we looked a little bit open, and you could maybe even go as far as saying that we looked a little bit stretched. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think it is. Again, it's another game I think we lacked control in possession. We were pretty sloppy, and out of possession we made a really out of form Hibs team look half decent. I think we were guilty of giving the ball away carelessly on too many occasions. First one would be Duke. He was trying to hold the ball up. He got put centrally for a lot of the second half, and he's trying to get the ball to stick here, but he's just not retaining possession. He's got Nilsson and Shinnie open, and you can see how frustrated Nilsson is when he loses the ball in this example. He's got really simple passing options available to him, but loses possession in quite a dangerous area. It was interesting. You could hear Cammy Smith pulling his hair out on Red TV, getting equally as frustrated. But yeah, in that first example, we've committed men forward. So if you lose it there, we're really, really vulnerable on transition, and that's exactly what happens. It takes 15 seconds for Hibs to strike the woodwork at the other end of the pitch, with Cadden almost scoring. That was only, what was that, 77th minute, 78th minute? That's just after we've taken the lead. And we're already guilty of just mismanaging the game. Really stretched.
Even sort of towards the end of the game, just before we get into injury time, you've picked out another example here where Leighton Clarkson picks up the ball in the middle of the pitch. And this is where so many of us think that Leighton it's too much of an issue for Leighton. He's always looking for this Hollywood pass.
Yeah.
And I think in this occasion, I think you're right to flag up that he didn't need to do it, right?
Yeah, I think here he can just carry the ball forward. He's got so much room to run into. We've got runners going forward that's committing the Hibs defenders. I think he just carries the ball forward and then chooses to pass from there. But as you said, he goes for the Hollywood pass. The thing is, he's so talented. He is capable of these sort of passes. But 89th minute, 2-1 up. I think we've just got to be a bit more sensible here, retain possession. And yeah, that's what, 89th minute.
Yeah.
It takes a minute to put the ball to the other end of the pitch, and we're guilty of cheaply giving away a free kick that, I mean, Cadden scores from. It's an unbelievable free kick. But for a couple of minutes ago, I think we've just got to be taking a lot more care of the ball.
Yeah, because I think what's important for people that are watching is that what we're doing here is we're pinpointing examples of where only a few seconds later we're gifting Hibs chances, and that's what we've been guilty of here. In terms of the third goal that we lose, which was just a punch in the guts, is it fair to say, and I wanted to choose this word carefully, but is there a naivety to how we set up straight from the kickoff?
Yeah, I think it's definitely fair. Watching it back, we've gone up and scored an amazing goal from Sockler, and I just don't think anyone's really switched on, to be honest. Rubezic charges out in the example I put up on screen to win the header. I don't think he needs to do that. We've got a lot of men back. He leaves Malloy with a 2v1 behind him. And then even you can see players like Morris and McGrath, they're just sort of ball watching, and you can see players, they're not goal side. It's really basic errors. So then when we go into the next example or the next clip, Rubezic is miles out of position. He's on the edge of the box. I thought Bashiri did well to hold off Jack Milne, and then because Morris hasn't tracked the runner in Eliuan behind him, he's got a free cross. Milne doesn't know what to do. We're at sixes and sevens, to be honest, and it's just a really, really farcical goal, to be honest. But I guess it's a harsh and necessary lesson to not switch off and just keep focused.
Do you know, again, I talked about it at the top of the show, and I toyed with whether I should mention this on the show tonight, but it was fantastic when we scored the third goal. It was absolutely sensational. And I understand the emotions of the game, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I must admit, the first thought that popped into my head was, why is Dimitar Mitov ran the length of the pitch to celebrate when there's still a minute or so left in the game? And I just felt that was a little bit naive.
Yeah.
I understand it because it's emotional, but I just wish he'd just kept calm, stayed, and organised. Just
Yeah.
get them
Bit more of a
organised.
level
'Cause
head.
that was the biggest issue, wasn't it? We just weren't organised when they kicked off again.
No, definitely not. Yeah. I actually didn't notice that from watching it back. I think my head was already in my hands. But yeah, for him to sprint the length of the pitch, I think we just need calmer heads and just to switch on. But it's a harsh lesson, and we just need to learn from it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the boss said. Look, lessons have to be learned. Okay, from a positive point of view, you've picked a number of positives. Where
Yeah.
have you gone with this?
Well, I mean, it's funny. I thought it was a really disappointing result and performance, but we still managed to score 3 goals. So, I mean, it still shows we're really potent going forwards. McGrath was outstanding again. He was our main threat for most of the game. Great on and off the ball. That's him up to 10 goal contributions for the season, which is only second behind Nicholas Kuhn at Celtic. He was brilliant. And I even just want to stress after the past 2 performances, they've been frustrating, but I think we still need to be conscious of the huge improvement we've had in the past sort of 4 or 5 months. You mentioned the points tally before, what a difference it is to this time last season. These sort of disappointments aren't going to happen, but we just need to bounce back. But yeah, I still want to recognise that we're in a really, really good spot.
Andrew, as always, fantastic. Thank you so much, and for offering us your contribution as always. And we will see you again after the Hearts game.
Thanks, Ali.
Brilliant, mate. Bye, fella.
Bye.
Thank you so much, as always, Andrew. Right, so this is what the manager had to say after the game. We made a collective mistake. We know what they're going to do, but we were too spread out, so they pick up the second ball. That's football. It happens all over the world. These strange games, but of course we have to learn from this and mature as a team. He went on to say, that game has a learning point also, how you mature as a team, because we know we need to be compact. We know they're just going to kick it forward, that we have to be close to each other, but we weren't, and there was space all over the place. So I really hope you enjoyed that segment with Andrew. And I just want to pick up on that, before I get you guys on, I just want to pick up on that Dimitar Mitov comment. So Look, I understand it. I get it. Emotions run high. We think we've won the game with an absolutely sensational effort from Esther Sokla 30 seconds before the end. But in hindsight, I wish he hadn't done it. And I must admit, when I saw him celebrating, I kind of went, ugh. Because it meant he had to sprint all the way back. And I don't think it gave him enough time to reset and get organised. Because what you want from your goalkeeper and your back four is for everybody to take a collective responsibility to reset. Because we all know, it's the old cliche, but every football team is at their most vulnerable just after they score. And what Dimitar did there was not give himself enough time to be able to get back into position to reset and just to take a breath. And we see what happens. Now, I'm not saying that is the reason why we conceded the goal. Of course not. But it potentially could be a contributing factor. So in moments like this, as much as I get the emotional side of it, we also have to keep the heat. I really hope I'm making sense. Probably not. Probably talking utter rubbish, as normal. Right, let's get you guys on. Okay. Let's get that bar all the way to the top. Okay. So, Marta J came on first. Hi, Marta, how you doing? Because I was late tonight, a wee bit late. I had some issues getting on here. He says, come back, Ali. We don't blame you for the Hibs game. Paul Hannon is here. Hi, Paul. How you doing? Paul, again, getting your messages, but having issues getting messages back to you. I've got no idea why. He says, good evening, everybody. Last night, 3 goals away from home and good goals too, but Duke needs to just put the ball in the net instead of fancy football. Ruby and Malloy, same old at the back with Ruby looking lost. A lot of you have commented on how you think they're starting to look a little bit shaky at the back. Paul Herder says McDonald is possibly slower than the other two, but his reading of the play and positioning tends to make up for that. Gavin Wilson said, we've all recovered from the shell shock, poor first half, more intensity into the second, then madness. Sokla's goal in particular was worthy of the win. Barry Cool is here. Hi, Barry. He says, feel deflated after last night. The only place JT has sprinkled his magic dust is central defence. I would give Angus a chance. Can't be bothered has said quite simply, zonal marking should be outlawed in football. Graham Gibbs says, Ali Beg disappeared quicker than our defence in the 96th minute. Gavin Wilson said, Nicky Devlin's goal was bizarre in a way, but absolutely brilliant too. Xander Moore is here. Hi, Xander. We must be better on Sunday and next Wednesday. That was so rough to draw that way, especially after Esther's bicycle kick. What a winner that should have been. Chris Clark says, good evening, everybody. Such a mixed bag last night. Positives and negatives from the game. Great to get back in front after going behind, but giving away that 96th minute goal was shocking. Stanley Roddy said, again, like a lot of you have said, 5 goals shipped in 2 games, Ali. Very worrying. Agreed. Kaiser has said, every cross that comes into our box, near enough, ends up as a goal. Phil McLean is suggesting that this could bring us back down to earth a little bit. West Coast Dawn is here saying good evening. Gordon Keith Ritchie says, back at last, we need to play for 90 minutes plus. At the moment, we only play good in the first half or the second half, but at least we are better than last season. Howard Fowley is here. Hi, Howard. How are you doing? He says, fit like, should never have lost that game. Central defenders' positioning for last-minute equaliser was shocking. Laurel 101 said, disappointed, but overall, we're still ahead of the curve for the season. Forbes McFarlane says, we need a better first half against Hearts and play for the whole 90 minutes plus. Right. Paul Hurd said, he says, for me, the last gasp winner, followed by the last gasp equaliser, masks an uncomfortable watch. Frustrating watching our players who we've seen play as a team not playing like a team. Kaiser says we should have learnt from Saturday. Agreed. Brian P. said conceding too many goals. Graham Gibbs says, danger is we focus on the late goal rather than our inability to play in the opening 45 minutes. Felt sorry for the guys up front as the service was awful. Can't be bothered is asking, are you on Blue Sky yet? Not yet. Seriously thinking about it. Kenny McDonald said, disappointed, but we take this on the chin and we push on. This season has been fantastic so far. We are way ahead of what I ever expected. Graham Barron is here. Hi, Graham. He's wishing everyone a good evening. He said, all right, kicking the jewels. We need a centre-back in the January window and work on dealing with cross balls in the box in training. Sokola's goal was unreal, he says. Andy Wright says, think people were getting a little bit carried away after all the good results, and it's unfair to blame everything on Ruby and Malloy. Can't be bothered has said, Nisbet looked well off the pace, which is a bit concerning. Yes, he's been injured, but he wasn't out for that long. Graham Gibbs says, most of us agree that we are miles ahead of schedule, but that's 2 games that we've been dominated by lesser teams. Yesterday, we were over the piece, we were the second best to the team that was bottom of the league. I must admit, that was my worry in the first half. Hence why I flagged it up with Andrew. Andy Wright says, first half was awful. Andy Wright comes back and says, there's very little movement up front when Nisbet plays. Forbes McFarlane says, we're just having a wee dip. Yeah. Colin Gale says, bearing in mind this is a 3-year project, we're not doing that bad. Last night, 2 goals lost from a wicked deflection, a fabulous free kick, and we could have done much better for the third. Overall, Colin's happy. Chris Clark said, we seem to have a great attitude drive when we go behind, but we seem to start slow far too much. Shouldn't need to go behind to kick us into life in so many games. We need to get at folk from the first minute. That's the only thing I would say is missing at the moment. Barry Cool is asking, do you think if we get a new centre-back, it will be someone who's played under JT before? So, look, I don't know how much of this is true, but I did hear a whisper that one of his priorities is to get a centre-back in January. So, let's see. Look, he put all his faith in Sievert. I don't see why, again, he can't go to Scandinavia and try and find us a centre-back. Because we are lacking a wee bit in that area. A few of you are talking about why Ante Palaversa is not getting a game. Why is he not being seen? All that kind of stuff. I don't know. Barry says here, Palaversa must come in for Nielsen on Sunday. I must admit, I didn't think Sievert had his best game last night. And I think it needs changed up on Sunday. Kaiser says Morris, Shaden, must play the full 90 minutes. What a game he had last night. Wasn't he absolutely sensational when he came on? Yeah, Musical Box says Nielsen looked less effective last night. Maybe he needs a wee rest. Graham Gibbs says, look guys, in fairness to Nisbet, he looked as lost as Sokola did against St Mirren. When we play so passively in the first half, the lone striker looks anonymous. It's actually a fair point, Graham. Graham Barron came back to say, I would play Palaversa at Tynecastle on Sunday. He knows how to score against Hearts. I thought Shinnie and Nielsen looked like they huffed and puffed a little bit, but we dust ourselves down and we go again. Forbes McFarlane, in reference to the example we put off of Leighton trying to play that ball to Shaden, he comes back and he says, always told when you're playing football, run into space. Exactly, Forbes. Yeah, to counter it and to balance it, Graham, you're absolutely right. Graham Gibb, he says, in fairness to Leighton, his other passes were on the money. He released Morris for the first goal. Yeah, I'll take that as well. But I think what we were trying to flag was that it's the decision making, isn't it? And what happened after he gave that ball away, they went up the pitch and almost scored. And that was the issue, that we're giving away possession cheaply and allowing them then to counter us. Andy Wright is suggesting that we should be playing 4-3-3 when we play away. Al Hayes here. He says, hi Ali, was at Easter Road last night. What a roller coaster. Dismal first half, tremendous second. But what was Ruby thinking of? He should have got to that ball or taken out the Hibs man. Barry Cool is hoping that Jamie McGrath signs on for a few more seasons at least. Can't be bothered, I said. The January window is going to be very interesting, if nothing else. Murray Cocker. How you doing, Murray? Good to hear from you, fella. It will be real interesting to see where we are after Jimmy gets a couple of transfer windows under his belt. And he says, anyway, come on you Reds. Keep well, my friend. Old school chum of mine and a teammate of mine as well. At school level. Not a bad player, Murray. Not a bad player at all. Musical Box says, can't wait for Pape to come back as I feel we are a real striker short at the moment. A few comments here about, the comment I made about Mitov. Thankfully, it appears that most of you are in agreement. Again, lots of you are commenting about Andrew's analysis and how much you're enjoying it, which is fantastic. Mon the Hoops is on, Celtic fan. Thank you for coming on. He quite simply says, game management, you will learn. Scott Murray is suggesting that heavy wet pitches have affected us in the last 2 games. Sandra McPherson is on. Hi, Sandra. She says, Angus MacDonald needs to get a chance. Very nervous now about next Wednesday. Yeah, Celtic at home. Jim Balfour's on. Hi, Jim. He says, with seconds to go, you get the ball back to halfway and reset while they are processing their disappointment. Don't give them time to get riled by us acting like we've won the league. Do you know what? I will absolutely take that, and I think it's a fair point. David Gold, Rally Vids, says, good evening, dandies. We Hibsed it. Right, so just take a pause from that at the moment. So this is the new item that I wanted to sort of bring to you, and it's kind of its new format. So a few of you came on to me and offered some suggestions about what you would like to see more on the show. So this is one of them. Many of you used to enjoy the On This Day in the club's history that I used to put together. But what I want to do now is sort of take that to the next level and try and find the real interesting stories from the football club on this particular day. And I think I found one for you. And I kind of hope you kind of see what I'm trying to do here. So this gentleman is called Charles Nielsen. And he was born on this day in 1889. He played as an outside left. He played in total for us 8 games between 1910 and 1912. And he very sadly died in the First World War in France on the 1st of June, 1916. And what makes this story even more tragic is that his 2 brothers, by the names of Roland and James, also fell in the Great War. Can you imagine parents losing 3 sons? It's just unthinkable. And his parents at the time, originally from Montrose, but lived on Station Road in Ellen when sadly the First World War was raging on in Europe. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking to do. As sad as that story is, I just thought it was a really interesting story to bring you. And that's what I'm going to try and bring you a little bit more often as well. The more editorially interesting stories. Right, let's get back to your comments. David Gold Rally Vids, like so many of you, are suggesting that we need to get an experienced centre-back in, someone who can mentor the two young guys. That's a nice point. Kaiser has said, Palaversa should be in the middle with Shinnie and Nielsen away from home. David Scott says, Ruby needs to stop hoofing the ball out the park needlessly when nobody is near him. He needs to have more game awareness. Spender37 makes an interesting point. He says, do you think that after the first set of games, we are becoming predictable and other teams are learning how to play against us? Musical Box says, I think Nielsen needs to have his game time managed when he has played a lot more games than most of our stories. Gavin Wilson said in response to the story that I've just put up, he says, great story, Ali. I love these stories. Even if tragic, it lets us remember people. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Right, guys, we're just about done. We've done just over half an hour. So I just have one last little thing to ask of you. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to press the old like button if you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Don't forget, it doesn't cost a bean. All it is, it's like following on X and following on Facebook. And we're getting closer to like 4,100 now. That's the next aim. So if you have enjoyed the show and you want to see more, please subscribe and you will get notifications whenever there's live shows and other stuff going out on the channel as well. So we'll be back. Now, I'm trying to work this out when I come back because the game's on Sunday. So I'm thinking Saturday night, but I've got the kids with me this Saturday. So will you do us a favour? Just keep an eye on my socials because I'll either put it out on Friday or Saturday. I'm kind of tending more to Friday because I got the boys on Saturday. So anyway, take good care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again towards the end of the week. Take care. Stand free.